I've been watching Abbott Elementary by whatever the legal means to watch that would be. It's a funny sitcom in the mockumentary tradition. We trace mockumentary sitcoms to the British The Office, a comedy of subtext known for its realism, in which the main characters might glance to the camera or deliver private vox pops. There's plenty of moments where it's not very credible that a character would act like that with cameras around, or that cameras would be able to capture a moment without the crew becoming visible on a different camera. Some of this is covered by peering into an implicitly private room, but the main counterbalance is how the central character acts like that specifically because there are cameras around. With some initial viewers confusing it for a real documentary showing embarrassing people, the kayfabe of this mockumentary is that these people know they're being filmed, but probably don't know how ridiculous they'll look when it's edited into a show, one that comes across as a subtle sitcom. The American The Office took this formula and ran for a successful long run, and soon diversified from the mockumentary format without losing its touches. The credibility of a real workplace team being recorded so long-term stretched very thin, but they finally course-corrected by having the finale being the public unveiling of their documentary project. Despite the many moments along the way where it was not credible that what we saw was fully filmed, mic'd, and included with such minimal communication or contrivance between the subjects and the unacknowledged crew, all the glances and vox pops were finally roughly vindicated by the show, reminding us it's diegetically a documentary. Arrested Development plays very loosely with the documentary format, with constant documentary narration, but no absolute non-puppet camera glances, despite a central character whose entire purpose is to be incredulous. It indulged in a small few meta-touches that refer to the cameras and the means of the show's production, while remaining deniable in their presentation. It is a story told using parts of the flavor of a documentary. Parks and Recreation was pitched as a spin-off of The Office and soon found its own voice. It maintained the documentary format, made a regular feature of solo vox pops, and had camera glances, but no longer communicated proper certainty that they're diegetically being filmed. Clearly, the showrunners, veterans of The Office, appreciated maintaining the style of a documentary, but felt limited by the impossible task of keeping it realistic, so they established this semi-fantasy setup. The vox pop scenes are functionally fantasies, the equivalent of a dream sequence. One of the parts of a traditional sitcom's arsenal that this evolved form of a mockumentary cannot access. It's Malcolm in the Middle's fourth wall breaks, or the bits in that show, The War at Home, remember that? No? Well, it's a Shakespearean soliloquy. It was very traditional to theatre, and now it can be done in a more realistic way. But the realism of Parks and Recreation's vox pops occurs via fantasy. Parks's camera glances are halfway to Abbott. If we accept that they're looking at the camera, there's so much more we need to narratively accept that we're more comfortable accepting that these moments are fantastical. The vox pops afford the chance for every character to deliver a privately funny esprit d'escalier meta-commentary line without disrupting the conversation or situation they're responding to. Setting up their own rules, Parks and Rec's format allows them to have their take and eat it. The scenery. It's only the Johnny Karate episode that really stretches for a similitude, and that's so close to the end and so funny that they've earned it. Shows like The Thick of It and Veep have maintained just the stylistic touches of a documentary, keeping the camera work and dry storytelling tone, but clearly not allowing the cameras to be diegetic. With stoic self-discipline, these shows don't want their cake or to eat it. Nothing is fantastical. Modern Family sits near Parks and Recreation in its general vibe, but I don't want to watch it, so a commentator can cover that one. Abbott Elementary continues with the Parks and Recreation tradition with vox pops and glances, but explicitly refers to the camera crew at a rate I'd call about once every 2 episodes. I'm not doing the maths. You've seen this video. I'm barely doing the visuals. Good as the show can be, the one thing that doesn't work throughout is the kayfabe of a camera crew. We're meant to believe these characters are being filmed filmed while they deliver unguarded reactions, administrative decisions, minor crimes, and infractions, all with various angle shots that would have to show some of the crew from the other camera angles. They're classrooms, you can see every corner. The mockumentary format has straddled realism and sitcom in many of my prior examples, but in Abbott it's reached a broken extent. Though even the British The Office tripped over its own constructs a little bit, Abbott's decision to take the freestyle storytelling of Parks and Recreation, peppered with references to the camera crew, but barely ever dealing with the details or consequences of the camera crew, as for such an inconsistent suspension of disbelief that it should have rethought the mockumentary premise. Also, it's full of elementary school kids blasting their lines with a variety of deliveries, but never quite reacting to the cameras, like some school kids would always do, despite or especially after being told not to. All of these shows have moments where a tertiary character shows up by surprise, who would not be ready to acknowledge a camera crew. In the British The Office, the show's world is so small that it feels excusable. In the American The Office, it doesn't work, but they're not gonna acknowledge the cameras until the final episode anyway. That show's basically already playing by Parks and Rec's rules, it just remembered itself at the end. In the other shows, no commitment has been made to it being a documentary, so there's nothing to betray. Be like Parks, be like The Office, or make your own rules, but let the rules be a consistent presentational grammar. You can allow breaks in the style for the sake of what's funny, like Arrested Development, but to have the camera crew be sporadically acknowledged and occasionally a convenient plot device doesn't convince, because it bugs the viewer with the constant question of what they're supposed to believe. It's kinda too late to course correct. The best they can do is wriggle it into a trademark style.